What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, July 22nd, day number 7 inside the Big Brother house. And while it's not officially a week in Big Brother until there is an eviction, we have had the house guests in there for 7 days now. And I think it's safe to say we are witnessing one of the best first weeks of all time. This has been a crazy ride. We've got a lot to go over in today's video, from the episode that we saw last night, which gave us a lot of great new information and kind of reassured us on things we already knew as well. Plus, so much to go over from the live feeds. The Angela crazy train has not stopped running, and there's a new conductor. Their name is Tucker. Choo choo, all aboard. You're not going to want to miss this. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We are going to do live feed updates first thing every morning, all season long. This is the place you're going to be to catch up on everything happening. Uh, but before we get into the feeds, though, let's talk about the episode last night. Very first thing, I loved that HOH competition. It was fantastic. It was a twist on just the classic crapshoot competition, the shuffleboards they do, or throwing the ball and hitting the numbers. It was kind of like a mix of all of those, but it had a social element in there. There was a knockout style to it, where you had to show your cards and really make tough decisions on who you're eliminating from the game. It felt like a really more refined competition than we've gotten in recent years. It almost felt like they went up to BB Can and raided their warehouse for all of their good stuff, completely just looting it, like looters looking for copper. It was like they stripped all of BB Can's good assets and brought it on down. The big video board they had, just the whole setup, just it felt good. The competition itself, like I said, was really kind of fun. There was the social aspect to it. First off, grouping up into teams of 3, leaving 2 people out of those teams, so they're out of it right off the bat. Then once the game gets going, you've got to eliminate other teams if you win that round, meaning you have to make a very tough decision, show your cards, possibly make some enemies. It was a great first competition for HOH. I loved it. It was fantastic. And if this is the level of the competitions that we're going to be getting this season, the first 2, 4 competitions we saw on the premiere night with the yes and the no comps for the powers, those were also very well done. I felt like it just seemed like, hey, you know what? They put some thought into these. The first no one was a little bit bland and kind of boring with the snakes and the stuff, because it was kind of like, this isn't even that hard. But overall, I feel like the competitions were fun. They were built up well. The spinning comp was a huge kind of elaborate setup with the screens and everything. That felt really cool. So yeah, I think they're doing very well with the comps this year. Overall, we did see how it all played out. We saw Angela winning HOH. We didn't see as much of the drama that we kind of thought there was in the HOH comp. Kenny had used it in his pitch, how he had thrown it to her. And I mean, it really didn't seem like he actually even threw it. It just seemed like he lost the competition. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But it was good overall. I really, really did like that competition. Also, another thing that I really liked from the episode were the diary rooms. They felt really good too. And I wouldn't say they're not scripted or feeding them lines, because I think they still are. The lines they're saying in there do kind of feel a little bit canned. But the one great thing about it, it doesn't feel like they're coming from cartoon characters. They feel more real and authentic than they have in recent seasons. And I got to applaud that. One thing though, and I don't want to say it's a bad thing, because I don't think it's bad. It's just different. And I'm not 100% sure what it is. There's something up with the DR's camera. Maybe it's the lighting in there. Maybe it's the background. It just felt like something was off. Something was different. Not necessarily bad, just different about the diary room setup. And that was just something I kind of noticed. And then we got more details in the episode about the powers, the BBAI arena. We knew a lot, but we were kind of filling in details as best as we could. Pretty much 3 nominees get nominated this season. The HOH will renom if veto is used. Then right before the live eviction, there will be a competition called the AI Arena. All three of the nominees will compete. The winner will come off the block. The two remaining nominees get voted. So, kind of how we thought it was going to be. And then we've got all the info on the powers as well. Mackenzie's power, we knew, was America's veto. She gets to remove somebody at the veto ceremony. That was another thing I was wondering too. When does she get to use it? We've seen vetoes that get to be used at eviction night, but with this one having the vote, it seemed like there was going to need to be some kind of time set up prior to that vote, right? We as the fans would need to be alerted that hey, we got to go vote for who the replacement nominee is going to be. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Quinn's power as well. We got a lot more details on that. We knew it was the deep fake HOH, but how it was exactly going to work, we weren't 100% sure. He basically gets to pick the nominees for whoever the actual house guest is. Not only, or the HOH is, whatever house guest is the HOH, he gets to pick their nominees. That HOH will then have a AI avatar created of them that will announce those nominations. And then they'll also, so Quinn will be able to use this AI avatar to make up lies, right? He can be like, oh, I've heard that Matt and Rabina are actually in a show, man. It's not Matt and MJ or whatever he wants to make up. He can make that up, and the AI house guest will say it. That AI HOH. So that could be really interesting too. I'm glad that Quinn got this. I feel like if there's anyone in the house that would use this in a very smart way, in a creative way, it would be Quinn. I will say he did make a little bit of mistake. He did let Angela know about his power and how it works and what's up with it. He was trying to get Angela's, connection, right? Like he was trying to build a bond with her. I don't think he needed to give up that he had the power. I think he could have built that bond without doing that. So that kind of takes a little bit of credit away from him, I think, in my eyes. Like don't overdo it. But I do think he regrets that decision now, especially after everything that's taken place. We also saw the start of the Angela Matt saga and how she was kind of egging him on about being in a potential showmance eventually, and how, like, oh, you're a good looking guy. You're going to be in one. We all know it. And he felt almost like it seemed like he was uncomfortable with her doing this. And then it seems like she pretty much pushed and labeled him as he was going to be in a showmance. And then when it seems like he possibly does have a showmance going, she continued to poke and prod and go, see, you're in one. And then now she's mad that she's doing what she kind of pushed him into doing in the first place. It's like, I I remember this a lot, like in high school, it would always be a thing where someone would always try and push two people together, even if they didn't want to be together. And like they would, I don't know, it just felt like she was trying to play matchmaker and then got upset that she did that. And almost in a way where she wanted him to be this target that's in a showmance just so she had someone to push her frustrations onto. It was really, really weird. And we also saw the uh, actual conversation that she deemed as a threat. Uh, was it a good pitch from Matt? No. Could he have said it better? Yes. Was it cocky? Yes. Was it arrogant? Yes. Did it deserve a full on mental breakdown right before breakfast? No, I think that's where maybe Angela's paranoia spiraled just a little bit too much. Basically, what he said was like, "Look, I feel good, right? Like if you put me up, not only are there two chances, the veto and the AI competition, that I'm going to have a chance to get off, and I feel confident whoever you put me up against, I can beat them. Plus, if I do stay up, I do feel good with how the house feels about me socially." And that kind of stuff, while cocky, also is just his pitch. That's how he wanted to do it. I don't think it's a very good one. It's basically saying like I'm awesome and safe, and like even if you put me up, you can't evict me. Nah, 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 nah. Or is it a threat? I don't know. I guess that part comes in when he says like, then I'd have to nominate you afterwards if I stayed. Which again is kind of just true, but you don't want to say that in Big Brother, right? Wild, absolutely wild. Another fun thing that we did get to see too was the beginning of the Lisa and the Tucker rivalry as well. This has been one of my favorite things to follow on the feeds, is just how much Tucker hates Lisa. And apparently it all started when they were doing their introductions. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a chef." And then Lisa's like, "Guess what? I'm a chef too." And he's like, what? I mean, I'm like, okay, sure, you're a chef too. Great. I was talking. And it's really continued. She just really rubs him the wrong way. She trashed his wings at one point. It's just been fantastic to watch Tucker almost like unprovoked. He'll be in the middle of a conversation about a completely different house guest, and then all of a sudden be like, "Yeah, and Lisa stinks too." He was saying he wants to put her on slop. It is a very fun interaction, and we got some fun stuff coming with Tucker that we're going to talk about in the feeds here in a little bit. We do end the episode though with the nominations. We already knew how it kind of all played out with Kenny Chemo and Lisa being nominated. Plus, we do get the great tease for Wednesday's episode, which, if done right, this might be one of the best episodes of Big Brother that we've seen in a long time. So I also thought last night's episode was fantastic. It really felt good. Like I said, it didn't have as much of the cartooniness to it. There was a little bit of it, but you know how they did it with the BB mascots in the competition, which was awesome, right? So they were like, listen, you don't have to do a silly competition, just do something silly with the host, right? Like if you want to have that comedy to it, do it in fun ways like that. You don't need to have an entire competition about fart noises or boogers, right? You can have some fun and some comedy in there in a cool way. Like one of my favorite things from the episode, and it has nothing to do with gameplay or anything at all, was the mascots, greeting everybody as they came on up. You know who it was? It might have been Tucker when he got eliminated. And they were like, "Yo, you're not even going to come over and show the mascot some love? What are you doing?" And just those little things. Like you can have comedy, you can make the show funny, but you don't need to drown it down with, fart jokes. You can do this right. And it feels like they're doing it right. This felt good. But let me know what you guys think of the episode. Let's now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the feeds because boy, whew, this train just keeps on going. A quick recap of kind of where we left off. Obviously, the things that we saw in the episode took place, but the paranoia just kept on spinning with Angela. That led to the massive mentee B that she had, where she went off on Matt first thing in the morning. After that, there was lots of fallout with everybody. We got into the veto where Lisa won. That was setting up Matt to be pretty much the locked replacement nominee. But like I said, lots of groups were forming. Everybody was kind of questioning where they stood, trying to figure out where their loyalties were going to lie. And we got more of that today. But first things first, they woke them up pretty early once again. These people are struggling with the lack of sleep. I think they finally got a little bit more today. They went to sleep a little bit earlier than they normally do, but they're a bunch of night owls. They're a bunch of night owls, and they are getting up very early. Hopefully, they start getting some more sleep because actually, you know what? Never mind. No, don't give them any more sleep because this has been fantastic. So they woke them up for the swimsuit photos yesterday. That was kind of the big thing. We did have Lisa going to Angela and kind of giving her like a stern talking to. She was like, "Listen, you need to go apologize to Matt, right? Like you got to take ownership of what you said, what you did. It wasn't right. Go say you're sorry, right?" Which she did. She went. She had a little chat with Matt. They actually ended. They wanted to get somebody to be like a third party to come with them. No one was interested in that job, and I do not blame them. But they did have that chat. It went as well as you could hope, right? They both apologized, they hugged and stuff like that. Then they started talking about, what the plans are, right? And she kind of told him, like, look, I'm still planning on putting you up, like, but I don't think you're gonna go. And I wouldn't want you to go, right? Like, I wouldn't want you to get twisted out or anything, even either. And he's like, all right, well, if that's the case, why put me up? He's like, why don't you put up somebody else? And actually even suggested TK to Core. to go up on the block. And it was like, all right, well, an option. And as he ended up leaving, Angela actually said to us, she was like, "Are you kidding me?" She was shocked. So she definitely, it didn't end up fixing anything. It was just all kind of for show. And then this is when Angela just continues to go even further down the rabbit hole. She just can't help herself, I don't think. She was up in the HOH and she was watching the TV, right? Kind of looking to see where people were. She noticed that Cam and TK were then having a conversation. She has now created this narrative in her head where Cam was telling TK or asking and getting TK to volunteer to be the replacement nominee. She is full on. She's like, this is what's happening. She has gone fully into this narrative and she's running with it. And this is how she's basing all of her decisions moving forward now. We also had Matt go and tell Tucker. He's like, "Yeah, guess what? I told Angela that you'd be a good replacement nominee." Tucker's like, "What do you mean?" All right, cool, man. Like, that's a thing. He ended up telling Cam about this, and Cam's like, "Wow, that's crazy." And he went off on like a whole rant about Matt. Matt's another one that Tucker is not a big fan of. Matt also told Rabina that Tucker was somebody that's going to be going on the block. And later, Tucker ended up meeting with Angela, and she's worried that she's like, "Look, if I put Matt up, Kenny's just going to go anyway, and Matt's going to stay." And Tucker's like, "No, no, no, no. That like I've been counting the numbers. He will go. Just put him up, and he'll go, and we don't have to worry about it anymore." Honestly, they're both gold because they both have these like crazy theories of what's going on, and most of them are not correct. Like Tucker, Tucker also thinks that Joseph has one of the superpowers. Why does he think this? Well, he was having a conversation with Joseph, and they were kind of speculating on what it could be. And Tucker said to Joseph, "You know what? I bet you it's a double vote because two people don't have a vote. This makes a lot of sense. You make it a double vote." And he was like, the way he reacted, he was like, "Oh man, how did this guy figure it out?" And he walked away. So now Tucker thinks Joseph has the superpower, and he fully is convinced of this. This is like, you cannot tell Tucker otherwise. This is a thing. I think he also thinks that Lisa has one of the powers. These two they're basically the yin and yang. Angela has found her match in energy with Tucker. The two of them together are just fantastic. Absolutely amazing. So they both kind of are talking about it, and Tucker's still trying to push Matt. He's like, "No, like, don't listen, Angela, stick with us, go with Matt, put him up on the block, and then we just vote him out. Like, it is what it is." And if he doesn't end up getting voted out, if he wins the competition or something, him and Lisa, they're going next anyway. So he's really pushing this. Angela actually wanted him to go and talk to TK and try and convince her not to volunteer to go up onto the block and not be okay with this. I actually don't know if that conversation ever ended up happening. We did have a conversation with Angela and TK, and it was so weird because we, as the audience, we know what's going on, right? We know that TK thinks everything's good, right? Nobody's told her nothing. If anything, she probably thinks Tucker might be somebody who's going on the block. Maybe Matt. She doesn't know. So she's having a conversation with Angela, but Angela, she thinks TK is okay with going on the block. So she's telling her things like, "Yeah, it's going to be a big day for me." And TK's like, "Yeah, I bet it will." And she's like, "You got to play your own game, TK. Like, I remember I told you that. Just remember that." And TK's like, "Oh, okay." It is just it. Both of them have no idea what the other is actually talking about. It was fantastic to watch. It is just a wild roller coaster with the two of them. They did pretty much get down to, I believe, Angela will stick with Matt as the replacement nominee, but they're kind of letting him run with the idea that he's not. They're like, actually, now at this point, let him Let him think that he's doing well. Chemo's actually was involved with a lot of the conversations as well. And it's definitely going to be interesting. Oh, and we also had Tucker go to Matt and Cedric and tell him, yeah, I agreed. I agreed to Angela to put me up as a pawn. So, so not only do Angela and Tucker have this whole narrative built up where TK has nominated to go up onto the block as the replacement nominee instead of Matt, they are now convincing Matt that Tucker has agreed to go up as the pawn instead. I, my brain hurts. My brain hurts. I don't know how their brain is even wrapping their head around this madness, but it's a thing. Another really funny thing was Leah. Leah had kind of like a house meeting that she did. It was really funny, like mock house meeting that she did, and I wrote this down because it's one of my favorite things. She says it's no secret in this house. It's divided, and there's two types of people in this world: rats and mice. And I'm not afraid to expose anyone. I'm a mouse. My pronouns are mice and mouse. It was fantastic. It was like a good old callback to the Survivor jury speech from was that Sue? Was it Sue who gave that speech of the snake and the rat? Fantastic. Absolutely amazing from Leah. Then we're getting into some more interesting stuff here. Some more kind of like alliance chat. We had our here we go, our alliance chart that we did yesterday with the Pentagon, the collection, the core, you got the barber shop, all kinds of stuff. It's a bit of a mess, right? But these are kind of some of your main groups that are going on. The pentagram feels like it might be the one that's getting a little bit more attention here because we did have some really cool convos with people like Cedric and Quinn who were kind of chatting. Chelsea was in on this convo as well. And they all really like the Pentagon. I do believe this could be getting a new name as well. Brooklyn mentioned that they're trying to see if it's going to be able to clear the copyrights or something like that with production. So it might not be the Pentagon for long, but this five-person group seems like it's really doing well and it's solid with Cam, Chelsea, Cedric, Quinn, and Brooklyn. And honestly, I like that group of five. I think it's a good group. I think they could do really well if they do stick together, and it could potentially be a final five scenario if they play their cards right here. And they do think they want to stick together, and they kind of want to decide, which way they should go. Right? Should they go more with, the barbershop side, which technically Quinn isn't really in, or do they go with the collection, the collective side, which Brooklyn's not really in, but you can kind of bring Brooklyn in. I mean, you don't really need Kenny or Angela involved with that either, but is a thing. The only thing is, though, the only thing, you're in a group of five here, and at least this week, two of the five can't vote. So you do have to worry about numbers, right? You do kind of have to worry about like whatever you want to do, you got to make sure you get other people on your side and get them involved with this as well, or else you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. Some other interesting things, though, was we got a little bit of convo with Quinn and Brooklyn to get kind of their perspective too. I wanted to hear what Brooklyn was thinking of everything because again, the other three, it was Cedric, Quinn, and Chelsea. They kind of agreed like, hey, like let's wait until the veto meeting. Let's wait until all the competition's over, even the powers, and we kind of figure out which side we want to go to. Quinn and Brooklyn, they both agree. We like this Penta group. We think it's good. And it was interesting that they both really don't like Lisa. We got more of this from Quinn later. We got a nice cam talk we're gonna get to, but they both really don't like Lisa and think that she's a schemer. We also got Chelsea having a convo with Cedric, and I thought this one was interesting too because Cedric was fully on board with the idea of TK going up as one of the nominees. Chelsea's like, what? Wait, why? What purpose is this? All right, so it keeps Matt off, right? Why is that good? And he's like, well, if Matt's here, then next week the two of them will kind of be going at each other, right? And those sides we can kind of have the barbershop and the collective just kind of going back and forth. And while I get his point, I think Chelsea has a point too. Why risk TK going? Just put Matt up on the block, right? If you're getting someone else to do it for you, just put him up on the block. If he saves himself, great. If he doesn't, good. Then there's a big competitor gone. I think that is the move. And I think Chelsea's got a little bit better of an idea here. I get Cedric's logic though with it, right? If you just have both sides going at each other, right? Why not? Why take this shot now when you can have that shot go 2, 3 weeks later? And then that's 2, 3 weeks that you guys don't even have to worry about winning a competition because you know they're just going to be taking shots at each other. But I think I like Chelsea's perspective on this a little bit more. Just take them out now, right? You never know when you're going to get another shot at them. Just let it happen now, especially since there are multiple ways to get yourself off the block. It could be very hard. We don't know how long that's going to last. Will it just be 4 weeks, like the powers that Quinn and MJ have? Or are they going to be only 4 weeks long, just like this, AI arena? Or will this AI arena go all the way past jury? We don't actually know. So if you want to take a shot at Matt, you might as well just take as many as you can, right? And this could be a free one that you get. Speaking of Matt, we had him meeting up with Rubina up in the storage room. And I don't know what it is. When Matt is in the storage room, he just decides to spill his entire game. He was telling Rubina everything, even to the point where he said, yeah, we were about to form a giant alliance like right before the blow up. It was all set in stone. Joseph was setting it all up for us. It was a fake alliance. Like Matt didn't know this, but he's telling Rubina this. And now Rubina's going to be like, whoa, like what was going on? And he just pretty much gives his whole game away to her. It's wild. He was like, yeah, if she would have waited 5 minutes, I was going to go to her and say, yeah, let's lock this in. So I thought that was pretty good as well. And then I mentioned Quinn. Had a little bit of a Cam talk. We got denied of a Quinn Cam talk the other day. And it was really short. I didn't even mention it on the update. But one thing I thought that was really interesting, he was able to figure out that since his upgrade, his power was about the HOH. That would mean that the other one probably would be about the veto. It just would make sense. So without even kind of thinking too hard about it, he was like, yeah, that, you know what? If I have the HOH one, somebody has a veto one. So he was kind of able to figure that out, which is cool. But in this Cam talk, he talked about how like a lot of people are saying that Matt is going to be like really eager to stab people in the back and go after them. They also think that Cedric is just running around telling Angela a lot of info, which Cedric does talk to her a lot and kind of calm her down. He really cares about her as just kind of a person, sees her as like a mom figure. But I don't think he's giving her as much info anymore. Kind of, I think that train has kind of left with Cedric. He talked about the power he has and how he's just been blaming Lisa for it. And how she's always asking him like to do like tasks and things like that. And he just finds it super annoying. And like I said, he and Brooklyn thought she was a schemer, but he kind of goes into it even deeper, where he's like saying that Lisa reminds him of Jason from BB17 and BBOTT. He also talked about the moon water ceremony, which I didn't mention in yesterday's update either. But Quinn basically said he did it all for a joke. And it was pretty funny where they had this whole thing where they brought water up and they were doing this moon ceremony. They had the veto in the middle of it. I think it was some kind of like astrological thing or whatever. And Quinn was great because at one point, one of my favorite lines, he was like, yeah, guys, I'm sorry if I'm a little quiet. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. If you didn't know, this is my first moon water ceremony. But Quinn is definitely rising in my book. I've grown to kind of like him a lot in the game, but it was pretty good day. Pretty good day, a lot of craziness. I do want to go over one more thing. We do have our allegiance map, and I'm kind of liking this. What are you guys thinking of this? Obviously, we have our alliance chart, but it's crazy, right? There's so much going on. And I think what's interesting is if you go and you look at like all the different groupings and where people are, Then you go to the allegiance map, which is more of a simplified version, and the way I kind of suggest you read it, right, is a little bit left to right with sides, right? You got the Angela side, you got the Matt McKenzie side, and then up and down is kind of you're standing in the house, right? Like how much social credit you have with other house guests. And it's not a perfect one, right? There's only so much room, right? Like if I could, Tucker and Lisa would be as far apart as I possibly could get them. But I can't get them that far apart. But what's interesting, I think, if you do compare it with the alliance chart, for example, look at the people who I think are at the top, right? You got people like Chelsea, Cam, Cedric, Quinn, Brooklyn. Those are the ones I think have a lot of social capital with a lot of different people. They have a lot of good connections. They're kind of playing in that middle. If you go look at the alliance chart, they're in the Pentagon, they're in the collective, they're in the barber shop. You got the core of the three of them, Cam, Chelsea, and Cedric. And it just feels like they're doing a really good job. Another thing that might be a little bit interesting is Joseph. The first one I did of these, Joseph was way towards the top, pretty much where Quinn was. I've had Joseph drop way farther down. It feels like of all the people, other than Angela and Matt, Joseph is the one who has suffered the most from this big blow up. Angela doesn't trust them anymore because she thinks that he's gone and been with Matt and doing all this fake stuff around her. Matt, he thinks that Joseph was part of the big blow up and kind of blamed him for a lot of that. Joseph was thinking that Matt was going to be saying that he should go up as a replacement now that Lisa's coming off. So it's been just kind of a wild mess, and it's been kind of crazy for poor Joseph falling as low as he has with really kind of no fault of his own. It's just crazy people doing crazy things around them. Some other things that, if you kind of look, I think Quinn and Brooklyn's kind of shot up, and I think they're kind of more of an even level, but definitely in that second level right below Chelsea, Cam, and Cedric, meaning that the Pentagon, the one who kind of feels like they have a lot of control and sway on where they go, are the ones kind of at that top. I think Leah also has some pretty good credit with people. She is closer to Mackenzie and Matt than she is towards Angela, but she could easily go and slide in with everybody else. Tucker, I think, is kind of in a similar spot to Leah, right? Where he's on the other side of it, but he also has kind of the same amount of social credit with people where people like him. They're not thinking of him as a threat. They kind of do listen to him a little bit. They think he's funny at the very least. So while they might not be working with him necessarily, they like him and they think he's a good dude. Rubina, I actually think Rubina, if like I had just a little bit more room, I'd put her slightly above Joseph, right? Just like a little bit above. Then you also have the people who are not only nominees, but people being thrown out as potential replacement nominees. T-Core, good old TK. I would have had her higher, but now that she's just having her name thrown out there by a lot of different people, Cedric, Cam. Well, Cam kind of was filled in with it later, but Cedric definitely he was cool with it. Matt was cool with it. MJ, Leah, like they were all like, yeah, sure, why not? TK, right? And kind of went along with it. So I kind of slid her down as well. Chemo actually might be coming up a little bit, getting some credit with people like Angela and stuff like that. But I think this does kind of help a little bit. Let me know what you guys think with all this. I have also added the actual logos for the deep fake HOH and America's Veto. I hope you guys think that's kind of cool. I did also notice a lot of people saying in the comments there was something weird about Matt in the picture. I don't know what you guys mean. I would never put any Easter eggs in any of my videos for you guys to find. There's definitely no Easter egg on my screen right now for someone to find at all. I would never, ever put an Easter egg in my video. There's no hidden things, nothing going on, no funny business here. We are serious here at Ori Streams, and our coverage of Big BB26 is always serious. No jokes. We don't joke around here. What do you guys think about everything going on? What did you think of the episode? What do you think of what's happening on the feeds? Let me know in those comments down below. Who do you think Angela should put up? Should she stick with Matt? Should she just go with TK and kind of let things ride? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out all the links to my socials in the description down below, pinned comment, things like my Twitch, Twitter, Discord. Discord's a great place. You can kind of chat about everything going on the live feeds. It's a lot of fun when something crazy's happening on the feeds and everybody's in there popping off. It's a lot of fun hanging out. Thank you guys again so much for watching. We will have an episode on Wednesday. We'll see the veto. We'll see the big blow up and everything. I'm looking forward to that. We'll have another update for you tomorrow, and I will see you next time.